This is exactly what we've all been waiting for. Despite Mets brass selling the fact that Francisco Lindor will return this weekend with always encouraging updates, the shortstop still has not even started playing in minor league games. But that all changes tonight. Mr. Smiles is beginning his rehab assignment, and fans are stoked, yearning for his return. So let's talk Lindor only here on Mets Digest. I'm your host today, Mike Duda, ready to do so. But first, I want to thank each and every single one of the over 7,250 subscribers that we have here on the channel. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day to hit that free subscribe button. And if you're part of the 66% of viewers who has not yet done so, please consider it. We're on the road to 8,000 subscribers. It's free and it's worth the while. We got videos coming out each and every single day between myself and Josh Byrne, sometimes 2, 3, and even 4 videos in a given day. So thank you so much in advance. And before we dive in, it's not just Lindor. Tyrone Taylor, too, will be joining him down in Binghamton for a rehab assignment, but we'll save all that for a later video. Check in tonight on Mets Digest for some Tyrone Taylor updates, his injury, his story, and how his rehab assignment is going to start, because for now, it's all Francisco time. Anthony Tacoma was on it last night, saying Francisco Lindor will begin a rehab assignment with AA Binghamton tomorrow, as in tonight on Friday, according to the Mets. They desperately need him. Yes, Bo Bichette has been fantastic offensively of late here in the month of June, but defensively, it's still a struggle, and the Mets have to try out somebody at third base, with Bichette sliding over to short. Remember, he was originally slated to play third base this whole year before the Lindor injury, which just leads a domino effect. Now you have guys like Brett Beatty in there, sometimes even a Mark Vientos, and it's just kind of a disaster overall. So if you can really solidify that left side of the infield that you plotted for coming into the year, with Lindor at short and Bichette at third, that can only do wonders for the Amazons. So what will this rehab assignment look like? Well, we're going to turn to Max Goodman for the information, who says that Lindor will play at least 2 rehab games, according to the skip Carlos Mendoza. It is conceivable that he'll be back with the Mets early next week. That is great news, because as I mentioned yesterday in a video, all that matters right now for the Mets, their entire season comes down to 10 days. Started off great with a 6-4 win against the Phillies last night. They still have 2 more in Citizens Bank Park, then came home for a crucial 7-game homestand. 4 against the Cubs, 3 against the Phillies, both of which ahead of them in the standings in the wild card, and both of them fighting tightly for those last wild card spots. So the Mets can make up significant ground if they want to make a postseason push this year with the next 10 days. Now, since he's already been ramping up with the simulated games, he won't need as many rehab games as Tyrone Taylor beginning his assignment tonight. So that is great. Really good information, because Lindor, he could be back as early as, let's say, that Tuesday game against the Cubs, maybe even the Monday game, Wednesday, Thursday, whatever it is. I just hope, even if he misses the Cubs series, I really want him to come back for that latter Phillies series. Remember, one of the last times that he played the Phillies at home, that signature home run, the grand slam, when he was just going Linsanity mode in 2024, that's the Lindor I want, and I want him to return with thunder. That would be excellent. Always love beating the Phillies, and it would be great for the postseason push. If you're someone that still believes, like me, the Mets are only 7 games under. They're not too far out of it, I believe, and I think Francisco Lindor coming back will only help their case. Now, Sleeper Mets has the answer about what these simulated games were. He tweeted this a week ago, saying that an update is that Francisco Lindor was scheduled for a 2-inning simulated game on both sides of the ball last Friday, a week ago. He did play in those games, but was still a week away. We know that because it's been a week, and he has still not even started playing actual minor league games. This was according to Joel Sherman, who is an insider with the Mets. So, what is the plan for his actual return? What's the plan for this rehab assignment? And what will the Amazons look like moving forward? Well, according to manager Carlos Mendoza, the plan is for him to play 5 or 6 innings tonight on Friday, and then have an off day on Saturday. Keep in mind, he's only been playing simulated games. He hasn't been playing actual baseball. He hasn't been playing against real pitching. He hasn't been playing against real fielding. Hasn't been playing in that real MILB or MLB game environment. So it's going to be a bit of an adjustment for him. And he is coming back from a severe injury, so he will need another day off on Saturday. Then, presumably, he's going to play on Sunday. And from there, he will have played in at least 2 rehab games, according to Mendoza. And the club will then decide what the next steps are. So, if he plays 5 or 6 innings Friday, looks great, takes his off day Saturday, and can play a full game Sunday and says, hey, I'm ready to go, I'm 100%, then you could see him as early as Monday or Tuesday. But keep in mind, this is a guy who plays every single inning of every single game. Very, very seldomly is he on the bench. Keep in mind, this is his only IL stint in a Met uniform, and he's been here since 2021. So this guy doesn't sit out. So he needs to be 100% before he actually gets back to the MLB club to be that guy, the offensive player, the defensive player, and the guy that you can rely on to be out in the field every single inning of every single game. You need to make sure he's 100% correct and ready to go before you throw him back on the MLB roster. So I don't personally necessarily mind if the Mets end up backlogging him and say, hey, you're not going to play for the Cubs series. I really want him to play for that second Phillies series at home because obviously I love beating the Phillies. It only helps. He's historically good against the Phillies, and it's a great spark for the postseason push that the Mets are trying to make. Now, once Lindor returns, Bo Bichette will swing back to third, and Brett Baty will move back into more of a utility role. Brett Baty's been doing most of the third base work. Once Lindor went down, Bichette got slid over to short, but returning to what you naturally wanted on that left side of the infield can only benefit the Amazons with Lindor at short and Bichette at third. Then, like it says here, Baty can be a little bit more of a platoon guy, and you could figure out a role for him. I think just get the best offense, get the best defense out there. We know Bo Bichette's defense hasn't been incredible, regardless if it's at short or third. So having a Gold Glover, a former Platinum Glover, that can only help over at shortstop. So what did the skip have to say? Well, we'll turn to Mendoza, who says this is a guy who knows himself better than anybody, and he's going to let us know if he needs more at-bats or physically how he's feeling, and we'll go from there. So, what exactly was this injury? Well, we'll turn to a fellow Yahoo Sports writer, Brian Salvatore, who said it was, quote, a similar but more severe version of the injury that had Juan Soto on the shelf earlier this season. Keep in mind, Soto is only out for 3 weeks with that injury. Lindor had a similar one, but has now been out for 2 months. Lindor has been out of action since April 22nd due to a calf strain, but the shortstop recently appeared in simulated games, a clear indication that a rehab stint was imminent. Mets President of Baseball Operations David Stearns also said recently they had expected Lindor back in the big league action by the end of June. That is great news. And I agree. I think he'll be back by the end of June. I just hope he's back for that Philly series as opposed to the last series of the year against the Toronto Blue Jays. So, for a little bit more detail, let's turn to the day of what was written about Lindor's injury. On the same day that the Mets got back Juan Soto in the lineup after missing time with a calf injury, their shortstop suffered one of his own. Francisco Lindor exited after the 4th inning of tonight's game against the Twins with left calf tightness. Lindor looked visibly uncomfortable as he rounded third and scored on Francisco Alvarez's double in the 4th, which gave New York the lead. Lindor was not running at full speed, grimaced as he rounded third, and winced after sliding into home. He was seen heading into the tunnel with a trainer and was subsequently removed from the game. It was later revealed that he had calf tightness. So, who has been filling in the meantime? Well, obviously, Lindor was supposed to be the shortstop. You expected him, honestly, to play 162 games, but with the injury, Bo Bichette has taken over, like I mentioned. You've seen a little bit of Ronnie Mauricio, and that was mainly the plan, to keep Bichette at third and put a guy like Mauricio, who's really good defensively, over at short. But the problem is, he ended up getting injured, which made Vital Brujan come in, but he's no longer on the roster. He got DFA'd. So recently, it's actually been Zach Short who has been playing some games, ironically, with his name at shortstop after claiming him off waivers. Now, they obviously missed the defense, but they definitely missed Lindor's bat and just his presence on the field overall. A fantastic player in the lineup. In his Mets career, he has a 260, 338, 459 slash line for a 796 OPS and 122 OPS plus. Keep in mind, a 100 OPS plus is league average, meaning you are just about an average MLB player. That means in his Met uniform, Lindor is 22 OPS plus points better offensively than the average MLB player. As for his career, slash line looks like this: 273, 342, 473 for an 815 OPS and 120 OPS plus. Per 162 games, he's averaging 29 homers, 89 RBIs, and 23 stolen bases. Got off to a slow start like he always does for the first month or so of the season. Here in 2026, the line is 226, 314, 355, 669 for an 89 OPS plus. Just 2 dingers, 5 RBIs, and 2 stolen bases. But in his last 7 games, he was hitting 360, 385, 640 for a 1.025 OPS, and both of his 2 home runs and all of his 5 RBIs on the season. And of course, this is a guy who is a 5-time All-Star, 2-time Gold Glover, and 4-time Silver Slugger. So go down there in the comment section. Let me know what you think. When will Lindor actually return, and how pivotal is he for this New York Mets team that is looking to make a postseason push? Speaking of which, will the Mets end up actually making this push? Will they inevitably make the playoffs, or are they going to sell by that July 31st deadline? Give me all your thoughts down below. Let me know if you agree or disagree. But unfortunately, that's all the time I have for you in today's video for this injury update for Francisco Lindor. Almost said Tyrone Taylor because he is the subject of my next video, so stay tuned for that. But unfortunately, that's all the time I have for you in today's video. Thank you so much always for watching, and let's go Mets.